All right, the Detroit Lions just keep getting good news. And before I get going, was there a big game yesterday? Did the Lions have a victory over the Packers? Did I miss something? Or, oh man, how good does that feel? 5-1 in the last 6 games against the Green Bay Packers, the team that tortured us, terrorized us since Brett Favre donned the green and yellow. This team has owned us, and over the last 3 years, honestly, over the last 6 years, they have not. And it has felt so good to be able to get these victories. We beat them without our defense even close to intact. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but what am I talking about? What is the good news? I'm going to start by asking you this question. What was your favorite thing from the victory over the Green Bay Packers? Was it a player that played really well? Was it the situation and how we beat them with the defense being so banged up? Was it just the fact that you hate the Packers and you wanted to get that victory over them so badly just to prove that you had it? Maybe it's that you can comfortably rest knowing the Packers aren't a threat in the division anymore. I don't know. Whatever it is, let's get into that. But here's the good news. One of them has to do with our remaining schedule and playoff seeding purposes. And the next one after that, we'll get into it, but let's talk about it. The first one is going to be talking about injury updates. We get extra time this week, and I know that there was a lot of injuries, but I am feeling really kind of excited and optimistic about a few of them. Taylor Decker missed his second straight week, and by the way, Skipper played great. I think overall, Skipper has filled in so much more admirably than we thought he would. Skipper is starting to prove that if he's not playing an elite edge rusher, that he has the ability to protect the quarterback pretty darn well. So that is good news number one. But good news number two, Decker still has not been put on IR. DJ Reader was not put on IR. Alex Anzalone is shortly coming back. Not shortly, but really toward the end of the season here. These injuries, none of them they're not considered long term. In fact, when Dan Campbell talked to the media just a few days ago, he said he felt good about Davis, who ended up playing, but didn't seem as optimistic about Decker, Pascal, and Onwuzurike. But the fact that none of those guys have landed on IR or didn't when they got hurt leads you to believe that they will be back either against the Bills or very shortly after that. If Decker isn't back against the Bills, then he should be back in the next game against the Bears. Otherwise, they would have put him on IR because that's 4 weeks. That's the 4 games. So I think when we look at the injuries, we are going to start getting healthier. Now, there's some that we know aren't going to come back. We know they're not going to come back. Aleem McNeil hurt his head, but he was able to come back in the game and give it a go. I would imagine that's not a super serious injury. We know it wasn't a concussion. Maybe it was a whiplash neck type situation. I don't really know exactly what it was. He did look like he was in pain, but he was able to come back on the field and give it a go for a series. So these are the biggest players that we have that it looks like they're going to be coming back. Our defensive secondary is back. That's good. And I said double dose, but I'm actually going to give you more than that. The next one is what is left. And this game against the Buffalo Bills. If we are not healthy by this game, all right, which is in 10 days from the last game that we played, so that extra multiple days to get healthy. This, believe it or not, is the toughest game left on our schedule, I do believe, but it is also the least important. If we lose this game against Buffalo, it makes getting the number 1 seed harder, but it doesn't take us out of being front runners for the number 1 overall seed and that all wonderful bye week that we all know that we want. You might be asking, how is that and why? All right. Well, first off, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 1 game behind us. Technically, they're a game and a half behind us. If they win this week, they'll be a game behind us again. They're playing Carolina. I'm just kind of giving it to them. All right. So if we lose to the Bills, we would be tied with them. Who holds the tiebreaker? Now we have a 1-game lead and the tiebreaker. Do we own the tiebreaker? When you look at the tie-breaking Rules. First is head-to-head. We didn't play the Eagles head-to-head. All right? Best one-loss tied in the division. We're not in the same division. First two are out. Best one-loss or tied percentage in common games. All right? Both of us lost to the Bucs. And I believe we have probably the same number of common games. So we both have one loss in those common games. So that doesn't matter anymore. All right. Then what you have to look at, it's percentage. All right. Then what it looks like you're going to be looking at is best one-loss tied percentage in games played within the conference. So when we look at that, you look at a team in Atlanta in the Eagles that lost to the Atlanta Falcons and they lost to Tampa Bay. Now, I don't know what the win-loss percentage against common opponents is going to look like. That win against Green Bay was really big for us. We both beat Jacksonville. We both beat Dallas. They could, we both beat LA. So, and then the future ones down here again, it's just Dallas again. So that could be a big one. If they beat Dallas again. So it could go there, but it looks like the tiebreak as of now is going to favor us. That's really good news. So what is a 1-game lead is actually a 2-game lead. All right. I think another thing of good news in this one, this was by far the most difficulty that I saw the Lions have running the football. In fact, it was a low water mark for a single rusher as far as most rushing yards. Montgomery had 51 in this one. He was the high water mark. The previous low was Gibbs of 71, and that was against Houston, another very difficult game for us. And basically, the Green Bay Packers said, all right, if you're going to beat us, it's going to have to be Jared Goff, and it's going to have to be this passing game. And in that, we saw a new hero born, and that was a man by the name of Tim Patrick. He led the team in receptions, tied for the lead in receptions with Gibbs, led the team with 2 touchdowns. And remember when we didn't re-sign Josh Reynolds? And he went and signed in Denver for like 2 years, $13 million or $12 million or $11 million or something like that. And we were like, oh, we didn't get Josh Reynolds. But then we end up, and then it's like, oh, we don't have a wide receiver in the beginning of the year. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we picked up Tim Patrick. Could that go well? And the answer is yes, it's gone well. He has fully settled into the Josh Reynolds role that Josh Reynolds had last year, along with Jameson Williams playing some of that. And Josh Reynolds, by the way, got cut. He got picked up by the Jaguars, which make no sense. The Jaguars I think it was the Jags that picked him up. The Jaguars picking up Josh Reynolds is like that guy in your fantasy football league who's 2-10 that just picked up Isaac Guriendo, even though he has no chance of making the playoffs, and you had Christian McCaffrey on your team, and you're the number 2 team in the league, and you're just mad because it's like, why are you picking this guy up? You have no chance of making the playoffs. Get out of here. And so that's kind of what the Jaguars did to everybody. Otherwise, I wonder if we would have brought Reynolds back. But anyways, we don't need him. Tim Patrick is playing that role, and he's playing it at a high level. Really cool to see a guy who's gone through those injuries and those struggles be able to get to that point. All right. Hey, thank you so much for watching this. I'm just so excited about this game. I'm happy about it. 12-1 is unbelievable. Enjoy it. If we can find a way to beat the Bills, get to 13-1, that'd be great. But the 3 most important games to win are the 3 games after that. The Bears, the 49ers, and the Vikings. If we take care of business against the Bears, the Niners, and the Vikings, and we win all 3 of those games, it's very hard to see a world in which we're not the number 1 seed. If we drop a game, it kind of needs to be the Bills. All right, thanks for watching. See ya.